Welcome
Welcome
to Shade.
to Shade in the City.
I'm your girl, Treese.
It's Nels.
And today we are getting into our review of Ready to Love Season 7, episode, I believe it's 8, Nair in the Hair. So, if y'all haven't already watched it, because we might actually be early, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to put nothing on us, too much pressure, but but yeah, no.
Not bad. We doing our big one.
Yeah, trying to hit that 400 for the birthday girl, just saying. Anyway, so if you have not already, Shade Squad, please make sure that you hit that like button.
And that subscribe button.
And y'all, let's get into it. Let's not waste no time. It's a lot to unpack. What is it when the X meets the next? Let's get into it and let's get shady. Meet up at the wine bar / church. Okay. Now, apparently they done got comfortable because they got a bartender, they getting drinks. Before they was too scared, like the Lord was watching them. But now they said, oh, Jesus drank wine too. So they're down to the sexy six, as Tommy calls them. And he tells them that, to move forward, you have to take a long, hard look at the past. Tommy, I don't agree. Look at you in the past and how you have grown. I don't think you need to go back to the person.
Yeah, you don't have to go back. You can just take a look, just in your mind. Look in your mind.
Look, he like Drake, flip the switch. Okay. Anyway, so he wants the ladies to introduce their exes to their connections. He thinks it will give both parties clarity on what they do and don't want for their future. So Jeffrey pulls Tommy to the side after all the ladies are leaving and lets him know that, both of her exes are the fathers of her children. One that she was in a relationship for 12 years, and he has no communication with his kids. And the last one, she gifted him his first child. And I'm using her words, not mine. She gifted him his first child. And then he left her as well. So she doesn't have any exes to bring to the establishment. I'm not mad at you. I would want to bring a girl.
Every time this happens, I always think about who I would bring.
Nobody. Not at all. Then Miss Morgan, she brings, I don't know why I felt like low key. His name is Junior, but I felt like they kept calling him
let's mention that basically nephew Tommy let her know that since you're not bringing anybody, you have to invite the guys and
that's important.
Let them know that you're not bringing anybody and
why,
and give them some insight into your past.
Because they might look at you funny, honey. Right. So Morgan brings Junior, I believe his name was. I felt like they kept calling him Julian low-key, or maybe I was just mishearing. But
Junior.
Right. But she said that she was dating him about 3 years ago. He tells her he's going to tell these guys all, okay? He's going to let them know everything about Miss Morgan. So Morgan tells him to speak his truth because she feels their relationship was very superficial anyway. So she doesn't feel like he should have anything to share.
When she said that, I feel like Tony, the math wasn't mathing.
So Lyndon shows up first and he feels like he and Morgan just go together. Junior asks what he likes about her and he says everything. And she's like, good answer. That was a good answer.
I felt like the point of this was so the new can get to know the person that they're dealing with. They're supposed to be asking the questions. And really, Lyndon is over here getting grilled rather than doing the grilling.
I think it was both. I think it was both, but
yeah, I couldn't have been on. I couldn't. It couldn't have been me because I'd have been like, I'm the one here to ask the questions. You've been there, done that. I'm the one that needs the information.
Well, then Tony arrives and she jumps up to give him a hug. I don't think I saw her do that with the same energy that she gave Lyndon, but just saying.
Let's talk about the energy Tony had for Junior. He was sizing him up. He was not.
He was sizing him up. He was like, really?
Right? This is what you. Okay.
He said he was not impressed, to say the least. I said, well, damn, why you gotta do Junior like that? Junior asked Tony about his connection with Morgan. And Tony says the physical attraction is there, but they have a deeper spiritual connection. Now, Tony said, huh?
I said, he talked that shit, huh?
Honk if you love Jesus. Ain't that so? Tony says, I'm sorry. Morgan asks, no. Yeah. So then Morgan ends up asking Junior what he liked about her. Why?
Exactly.
Why? And
I think everybody was like, why?
So he said when they met, she was playing and wasn't ready for a serious relationship. And Morgan completely disagrees. She said that she was cool with what they had going, but he wanted to be serious. Then he warns the men that she's smart, but she's crazy as hell. He said he then shares a story about how Morgan woke him up one night, or she decided that she wanted to wash his hair. And while he was sleeping, it just sounded real crazy because why somebody, whatever, what y'all do is y'all business anyway. But apparently she thought he was cheating. So she decided to put Nair in his hair while he was asleep. And he woke up and was running his fingers through his hair and it was coming out in patches. And I'm gonna say, Morgan, that's not nice. I've had Nair get in places that I didn't want to go, eyebrows, things like that. You don't know how fun that is, you know, to wipe your face and then your eyebrows are gone. That's not fun. So
and a woman's fed up.
Yes, that's what it was giving, with a woman's fed up. Morgan said that she had strep at the time and he was hanging out with his ex-girlfriend / godmom, whatever situation they got going. I said, okay, Morgan. He asked what they would do different to keep her around. And Lyndon says he will always be truthful because he just don't have time to lie. He ain't got time for the BS. And Tony says it's about the communication and says, you know, what would have happened if you just would have communicated with her? Things may have been different.
We might have not even been here.
Huh?
He said we might have not even been here.
Right.
Especially with the energy y'all was given earlier.
So Morgan tries to check Tony about what he said. And Tony feels like Morgan still might have, you know, be into her ex and he's not really feeling it. So then Junior asked them how in this process they found that Morgan was the one. And Tony says that it was physical attraction, but the room was full of beautiful women. And Morgan, I clearly did not like that. And she feels like her and Lyndon are still good, but feels like this meetup hurt her, what her and Tony had going
on. Now
James and Cynthia. I want to meet James too. He definitely gives me Miami. Love James.
Let me tell you something.
We need James on a reunion.
We are about to get into the shit. Okay. Oh, yeah. This is out of all the seasons. This and you see
I had to turn the heater off for that one.
And you've seen his face. You've seen it even before it all started. So Cynthia says that when Tommy told her that, you know, they have to bring an ex, her baby daddy came to mind. James is the father of her children and a part of her life and always will be. So she's hoping to see how Dre would maneuver with a woman with children and Anthony would maneuver in a blended family. Mm-hmm. She tells James to fill the guys out and ask questions to make sure that they would be good bonus dads. He is all on board, okay? So
yes, he is. He is overly excited to do this.
He actually seemed like he was a cool dude at first. So Dre walks in and James is clearly not feeling him. He made a comment about his hair. He tells the man he needs to speak up because he can't hear him. Dre makes a comment that Cynthia is a strong woman. And James says, how you know it? She ain't putting on a facade. Matter of fact, how I know you ain't putting on one as well?
He said people put on a good show.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dre tells him, look, you can ask me whatever and make your own judgment.
He says he got kids?
Yeah, he asked this man if he has kids. He asked about his past relationship and really just does not seem to believe nothing that is coming out this man's mouth. James.
He's like, why you ain't got no kids? You 39 years old and you ain't got no kids yet?
Making him sound like a playboy and yeah.
He was like, I just wasn't always good to women.
Oh, okay.
He's like, well, I'm not going to let you play with her.
He's like, I can see that.
Right.
Okay. James begins asking about his serious relationships and his mediocre relationships. Anthony walks in and breaks up the tension just a little bit. Just a little bit. Dre tries to change the subject and talks about how successful he is, and James is not impressed. Okay, he's like,
he's been in Forbes, y'all. If y'all didn't,
I ain't asked you about that. I don't give a damn about you being in Forbes, sir.
If y'all didn't know, he let us know. He
over and over again,
a few times.
So Anthony is picking up on all this heat. Okay. And Dre says that he's very successful in his career. He's been in Forbes and now he's ready to settle down. Anthony's ready to jump in there and ask, look, he asked what's the next question because he feels the tension. Right. So James asked him why him and his daughter's mom didn't work out. And Anthony says that they put so much focus on their daughter and their career that they neglected each other. James asked how many women he had after her, and Anthony said it was just that one, that was all he needed, and James is not buying this story. James asked, what are they bringing to the table? And Dre said, nothing yet, because tomorrow I might decide I'm no longer interested. You know, we in this process. And says that he could have anybody in his life because he was featured in Forbes magazine. And says, you know what, I gotta go. I can't do this with you. So James says that he felt uncomfortable and that's why he's getting up and leaving. James is explaining to Anthony that he wants the best for her because, you know, he put her through a lot. He says, so if it's going to be a blended family with Cynthia and your daughter wants 10 items, Anthony says, if my daughter wants 10 items, your daughter will get 10 items. And I'm also going to check in with your son to see how I can compensate, whether he wants 10 items as well, or if he wants something else. And he says that he likes his conversation more than he does like Dre's conversation, but he's still suspect. And Anthony says he completely understands because he's a father and he knows that he can't give him 100% clearance. Otherwise, he would think that was a little funny. He would think he was a little crazy. And then he tells him that he has to go. And James is like, oh, okay, so you running too. And he's like, no, I ain't going nowhere. You need to get in touch with me, get my information from Cynthia because, sir, I ain't going nowhere. Well, and let me tell you something. I listen. I could see all over Cynthia's face. I could see all over Cynthia's face that she was like, oh my Jesus Christ. Now, Cynthia asked James what she thought about them. And he says that he didn't like Andre. He kept on throwing up his credentials about being in Forbes. And what does that have to do with love? And he says Anthony is suspect and feels that him saying that he ain't going nowhere is really just game. Now, she said she was hoping to get a little bit deeper with Andre and Anthony, but clearly James was here just to piss these men off.
I like the protective, but I understand. I didn't think that. I get it. It's your baby daddy. I get it.
He was doing a little much.
He's a little slighted. I get it.
He was acting like he wanted that old thing back. It was given a little much.
Now Jeffrey is sitting down with Blue and Marc Anthony and tells them that her exes won't be coming because they're deadbeat dads. I mean, let's just allegedly. I'm sorry. Allegedly.
Here we go with this little hater box.
Wrapping it all up.
This little box of hate here.
So Blue thinks it's weird, and MA asks how that makes her feel not having connection with the father of her children, and she breaks down that she's 100% mom all the time, but that's okay because she doesn't have to deal with any baby daddy drama, and that's really what it was. You can go into Mercedes.
Oh, you was done?
Yeah. I mean, do you have anything you want to add? I didn't think there was anything else to add.
The only thing I would add is after this conversation, she feels that her connection with Marc Anthony got stronger and her connection with Blue is stagnant. Mercedes invited her ex Armand, and this was given like I was like, okay, Armand, this is not that Armand. It was Reginae and Armand. Not, basically to meet with Anthony and Marc Anthony. Don't do that because I think they're so super cute. Anthony, what'd you say?
I said
they are ready to love. They are in love. Okay. Anthony says after meeting with Cynthia's ex, he has no idea what to expect. And Marc Anthony, he ain't met no exes yet, so he coming in here on defense mode. He is on 10. He said he's just hoping that this dude ain't on no rah-rah shit. clearly, look, you lucky that you didn't meet no exes, okay, sir? Because that's what you like. Armand says, you're going through this process, and I would hope that you believe she is the most important part of it. And Anthony says that he feels like they're like yin and yang. Okay.
I didn't really understand this answer. Okay.
He says like opposites attract. He was saying like opposites attract.
But then he said he's at a point where someone he can invest in someone and in the relationship. And I was like, but what that got to do with y'all not being opposite?
Listen, everybody
okay, I'm just saying.
Everybody just liked that Anthony was spitting. Okay. Don't knock him. Okay?
Don't question it. Okay.
Don't question it. He said he lives his life a certain way, organization, prioritization, and a lot of responsibility. And he's at a place in his life where he could invest in a person. Okay. And Marc Anthony says that he's always making sure that it's about self. I got to make sure I'm good first. Okay. And he says once he's good, then he'll make sure that he's compatible with somebody else. All right, sir. All right. So Armand asks what their unfavorable qualities are, and Marc Anthony says that he's hard-headed and stubborn, and Anthony says his openness to take risks. And then the guys cut out, and Mercedes asks Armand if he had to choose one between the two, who would it be? He says he doesn't see Marc Anthony as a husband, and Anthony is ready for life with whomever that may be. He's in tune with who he is. And he says Anthony exudes confidence, and Marc Anthony is forcing it. And Mercedes says she respects his advice, and she is definitely not going to take what he says lightly.
Well, I don't think she was feeling a lot of his answers either. It just wasn't. I mean, anytime you go on a show talking about ready for love and you talking about you ready for you, it's giving low key just a younger version of Blake. You just said it nicer.
I didn't think he said it nice.
Oh.
Maybe nicer than Blake.
Yeah, nicer than Blake.
Maybe nicer than Blake. Suanne invited her ex Paul to meet Anthony and Blake. Blake is super excited, but he says he's unbothered by the fact that Anthony's there. He's been along through the process with them. And
he said, I ain't worried about nothing. Nigga, I ain't worried about nothing.
Paul says they're really close to family, and Anthony agrees. He says family is huge to him. Blake says he needs to evaluate family to see if it's going to work, because he's not about to just get in where he can fit in for the person's sake. I can't lie. I feel him on that. I'm not that one.
I hear you, but you just not even going to try to get along with the family. Like,
no.
Blake is so, that's why Morgan didn't mess with him. He's so like, I ain't having no kids. I'm not going to be friends.
It's not like you're just going to come in and be like, yeah, just like your family, I don't fuck with you. But I'm not about to kiss ass just because you're family.
That is true. That is true.
Either you fuck with me, whether I fuck with your family or not, or it is what it is. I ain't about to do that.
That is you.
Either we genuinely get along, or that then we don't. And then it's just me and you, or it's not. So then Paul asked him how he handles conflict between him and his partner. And Blake says he doesn't. He goes to counseling. It's giving bullshit. Okay. He says he's a verbal communicator, probably over communicator, because he doesn't just want to solve the problem. He wants to get to where the problem is stemming from. And he feels if you have a lane where you can tell him anything and you still lie, there's nothing there.
Can I just say, who hurt you?
Can I just say,
who hurt you?
So after the guys leave, Paul says he likes them both, but he's leaning towards Anthony. And Blake reminds him of himself 20 years ago, smooth, player, dressed well. And he's not convinced that they're looking for the same thing. And Suanne's worried because she takes everything that Paul says to heart. So she feels that she has to keep an eye out.
She has to keep her eye out.
Now you want to start listening.
Her eye out and her cape on.
Now you want to start listening to what people got to say about this man.
Marcia introduces her ex, Marc, to Blue and Tony. She loves Tony's alpha energy, but loves that Blue is so laid back. However, she feels like he can be too mysterious and she wants him to step it up a little bit. So she tells Marc to apply the pressure to these men. And Marc asks what they like about Marcia. Tony said she's beautiful and intelligent. Blue says he loves that she's not shy to reach out and check up on him. Blue, I thought I liked you.
She said he don't receive it well anyway. And he agreed.
No, and he doesn't receive it well. And it just gives me like, he said something else, but we'll get to that. He says something else at the end. And maybe because he doesn't talk much, so we didn't pick up on it. But it gives me the vibe. It was like somebody last season that was like that. And they just thought the women should come to them and gravitate to the. Yeah, that's what it's giving.
Only he was actually cocky about it, and he actually said it out of his mouth that he thinks the women should come to him.
I don't know, I hope I'm not misreading, but that's kind of what it was giving. But anyway, Marc asks where they are as far as the process, and Blue says they're in like the ones and twos right now. So Marcia wants to kind of know what her place is, and he's like, "No, I'm not telling you that." And so she's kind of like offended, like, "Why can't I know whether I'm one or two?" And Tony tells Blue no offense, but he's felt that they've had enough time to figure out what's what. I said, "Look at Tony over here riding the
mm-hmm. And in a confessional, Blue said that he was like, he ain't got no number one. He has two women and they're both number twos.
All I know is Tony must got good credit because he out here co-signing like a mother. Marc thinks that Blue plays coy, but he says Tony does display alpha energy, but worries if he can handle Marcia with care when it comes to his delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep.
And unfortunately now Marcia don't know where the hell she stands with either
one of them.
Yeah. Now Jeffrey, she went to have a one-on-one with Dre since he couldn't meet up with her for the ex date. And he's preparing a romantic home-cooked meal at his home. Okay. Now she comes in, she says the food smells amazing. She's super impressed, but she's concerned about their connection because she says it just seems so perfect and it's not forced at all. She's just like, Jesus Christ, I just melt in this man's hand like putty, okay?
She said she's waiting for him to come out like Houdini. Period. And show her more.
So they go out on the balcony to take in the beautiful views. She says the food was restaurant quality.
He made jerk chicken, y'all.
And he plated it beautifully. Okay. And she just
that's one way to get in the pants. I swear to God.
She says he's absolutely perfect. He even fed her little tiny little bites because he knows that she doesn't like big bites. Let me tell you something. This woman is so far in her feminine energy. All right.
Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I need to start eating slower and smaller.
If y'all watch this girl eat, let me tell you something. You would think she was scared that her food was gonna leave her plate.
because at times being a sibling, it has.
Like I said, this woman is so far in her feminine energy. She tells this man, when she looks at him, she sees a strong, powerful man. And she feels like she can already trust him. And she doesn't care who else he is dating on this damn show. She feels that she can trust him.
She said that's her man.
That's period. Claiming that. And he goes in for a kiss and he says it was an 8 because he wants the opportunity to experience it some more to get it to a 10. Now, she says she's ready to know when they get married. Okay. And they toast to him being an amazing man.
That's been in Forbes. The ladies make it to the wine lounge to divulge about their exes meeting their next. Tommy jokes that they all have the WTF look on their faces. Now, Sue-Ann starts off with her dates with Blake and Anthony and her ex Paul. Paul thinks Anthony is more reserved, which would allow her to play the forefront, and that's something she actually wants. Mercedes shares her experience and said her ex said Anthony too because he came with a silent confidence.
Anthony
Cynthia
was a
says,
winner, okay? He was a
okay.
winner all across
And
the
then
board.
I love how Cynthia is under her breath. Don't mess with my man. I'm gonna be the one to bring it to you. Okay, she was ready. Now, Marcia talks about how Blue folded bad. And she said Tony was Tony. Cynthia shares her experience and how James wanted to know about their relationships and their flings. She felt
it was an attack.
right. She felt that he ran Andre off and Anthony too. But I loved how she shared with the ladies. She made sure that she shared that Anthony told her he wasn't going nowhere. I said, you better tell him. So anyway, Morgan talks about her date and how she put Nair in his hair while he was asleep. Tommy's traumatized. Jeffrey says she explained to MA and Blue what happened and why she couldn't produce an ex. She says her strongest connections, though, are now with Andre. She feels like they're soulmates and she feels like everything aligns with MA and he deserves a her. I said, okay, girl. She says, however, she couldn't see herself in a relationship with Blue. And so now he's in her bottom. The ladies go through their bottom choices and basically they end up with Blake and Blue at the bottom. And I hate to tell y'all, it sounds like Blue going home.
Okay. Marcia took Blue out. He says that he's not nervous at all, even though the ladies just met up this week. She tells him that she hasn't seen or heard from him since the date with the ex. And she was hoping to have some recap while it was still fresh. She tells him that she always feels that she's pulling teeth with him. And Blue says he feels that they're doing what they're supposed to do, communicating.
He did say that. And he said they're doing what's supposed to do at the pace they're supposed to be doing it. That's what it gave me.
Now, she says that she's not the only one that feels that they don't know the romantic side of Blue or whether he even knows the romantic side of Blue. Okay. Mm-hmm. He says once he catches the person that catches him.
I was going to say, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Once he catches the person that catches him, that went off like a light bulb in my head. I said, oh, we done heard this before, just in a different way.
Then Sue-Ann, she met up with Blake and looks like he's in the bottom again. And he's not concerned either. He says he lives at the bottom.
He got a safety suit.
We got to put a safety vest on her.
It's like a safety vest. It's like that safety pin that you got in your sewing kit when you're fucked up, and you got to bring it in last minute and make sure your clothes don't. Safety suit.
You're so stupid. Well, he says he lives in the bottom, and he's been there since day one, so he's comfortable there. She says the date with the ex was interesting, and he agrees, and says he already had an idea of what was going to be said. She says their interaction is always good. And in the women's lounge, the feedback about him is always tough. It's like his name is like acid. Blake says,
first you were a malignant tumor. Now you are acid.
Blake says it's his approach. It's more direct. And in the moment, he has to stop being so considerate of what people are feeling because they turn it around and spin it on him. And we know who he's talking about in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she says that they spoke, that, her and the lady spoke, and she advocated as hard as she could. And they decided that he is still ready for love. And she tells him to do his best to think about the feedback. This is also happening while Marcia lets Blue know that she says the ladies' lounge, they deliberated and the ladies feels that he is not ready to love. And he says that he is just not for everybody.
All I know is Blake said, started from the bottom, now we here.
He's still in the bottom.
Started from the bottom, but my whole team here. Why are you still here, Blake?
That's where he's comfortable.
And yes,
want to be.
Blue is gone, and it's unfortunate. And I think I saw some things that I didn't necessarily care for towards the end. So, guys, if you have not already, please make sure that you have hit that like button.
You comment.
You subscribe.
And you hit the notification bell.
And I just want to thank y'all. 10 fingers up, 10 toes down. I just want to thank y'all so much for all the support. We see the growth. The numbers are going up. The birthday girl is happy. It is Pisces season. Y'all are making me feel good over here and loved and appreciated. And I love it. So thank you. But we love you. Thank you so much for your support. And we will catch you next week for another review of Ready to Love. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.